evening and a warm welcome to Personal Finance. I'm Gugulethu, Cele. Today we come to you from the headquarters of Alexander Forbes, based here in Sandton in Johannesburg. And tonight I speak to the Alexander Forbes Financial Services Retail Best Practice Leader, Youri Dolya, to tell us about something that many consumers might have heard of but aren't too familiar with, Youri. Living annuities. A quick definition as to what that actually is?
Well, living annuity is an investment vehicle which is used once you retire to draw the pension from. The investor or the person has a choice of how much they can draw, would like to draw every year. There are limits that are set by regulation. It's between 2.5% and 17.5% of the capital available within the investment.
Let's take two steps back here, because sometimes consumers get confused by the terminology. There's also something like retirement annuities available on the market, but I take it that's what you use to prepare to receive a living annuity.
That is correct. So retirement annuity is a vehicle that you use to save towards retirement, where you make monthly contributions. The contributions are tax deductible, up to 15% of your pensionable salary. And once you've retired, after age 55, you're able to then convert the retirement savings or the retirement annuity into a living annuity or a fixed annuity.
Fixed in living?
Yes, so the fixed annuity is basically you hand your money over to the insurers or the life office, and they will then provide you a pension every month for as long as you're alive.
Mm-hmm. On that limit, how much monthly allowance is the retiree actually allowed to receive?
So in the living annuity, you can, once you retire, you can withdraw up to a third of the capital if it's within the retirement annuity that you're saving. That is going to be taxed at your retirement tax tables, withdrawal tax tables that government changes over time. The rest needs to be used then to purchase a retirement income provision vehicle, which is either a living annuity or a fixed annuity. Within the living annuity, you're only able to draw between a minimum of 2.5% and the maximum to 17.5%. However, within the Alexander Forbes, we don't recommend you drawing, well, if you're drawing more than 10%, you're pretty much on the downslope of running out of capital in retirement. We have, for different ages, depending how long you have to go, you can draw. There's sustainable draw rates that we've put together as a recommendation to our clients.
Isn't that the difficult part, determining how long you have to go? Basically assuming when someone's going to die.
You can use a fixed annuity market as a guide to give you an idea what is the market is pricing, how long you're going to, or what is kind of sustainable draw rate. So the very good proxy to use is to draw within the incomes that you're able to get from a with-profit annuity or an inflation-linked annuity. Those are two different types of annuities which have slightly different pension increases built into them into the future.
This might seem like a silly question, but someone's thinking it out there. Could those funds particularly ever run out at some point in time?
Most definitely. So one needs to take caution. Drawing at the maximum is definitely going to result in you running out of funds. One has to be careful to and be actually true with themselves of how long they want to provide the pension for. It is quite important to get an appropriate advice from an advisory firm like Alexander Forbes or any other reputable advisory firm out there to make sure your money lasts you for as long as you're alive and actually works for you instead of working against you.
So who would a living annuity actually appeal to? I take it depends on how much income you actually are disciplined on working on.
Well, yeah, the income discipline is important. At the same time, you don't want to be too conservative because you do want to be having a good retirement. You don't want to be just holding yourself back. That's why it's important every year to sit down with a financial advisor and reassess your position, reassess what the time the markets have done for your living annuity investment, and then set up an appropriate draw for the year ahead. We at Alexander Forbes believe that someone who has less than R1 million or R1.5 million of investment saved up towards retirement, better off purchasing a fixed annuity because the overall costs would be lower within that product, as well as what we find is that people don't have the discipline, don't have enough exposure to financial markets to be able to make investment decisions within the living annuity. I mean, that's one of the things I have not mentioned. That's what the investors are required to do. They're required to make portfolio choices within the living annuity, which they don't have to do within the fixed annuity space.
Are there particular terms and conditions consumers need to be aware of?
For?
Wanting to make use of a living annuity.
It's a straightforward investment product. If you buy it off the shelf, you just need to make an investment decision. You need to choose your draw rate. You get to review it annually. You can choose from a variety of portfolios available, depending on the platform you have chosen or who your provider is. And yeah, you are taxed. So one thing I did not mention, you are taxed on the withdrawals that you make.
Monthly.
At the income, or tax is annual, it's for the income tax bracket, so it's your marginal tax rate, basically.
And that obviously, as you alluded to earlier, would vary according to the particular
How much
tax
you draw.
rate and
That's
how much
right.
you draw.
Yes.
Is it ever a good idea to cancel your living annuity?
Well, you're not able to cancel it. What you're able to do, you're able to convert it to a different type of annuity. Remember, this money is, that you've saved towards retirement needs to stay within the retirement space. So if you choose to buy a living annuity, further down the line, you're able to convert it to a different provider if you wish, or you can convert it to a different type of annuity, like convert it into the fixed annuity space. That is something we do recommend to clients who draw in more than 10% to actually reassess the position and maybe look to convert their investments into the fixed annuity market, because that will then take away the risk of outliving their capital as they get older and older in their retirement years.
If the retiree passes, what happens to whatever capital is left in the living annuity?
Sure. Should the retiree pass away, the beneficiaries, the beneficiary will get the amounts invested in the living annuity as a living annuity investment to continue paying the pension. Should they choose to withdraw that pension, they have a choice to take it out in cash, the whole investment amount. If that is the case, they will be taxed at once again, the retirement tax tables, which is not advisable because you will be losing out. Rather use it for the purpose it's been set up to do, is to provide ongoing income.
I know you're not a financial advisor, but for someone who is approaching their retirement age and they've considered using a living annuity, what are the top 3 things in your mind that you think they should consider?
The important thing would be to consider your sustainable draw rate, to make sure if that's what you needing to get out of your investments as income can be sustained throughout your retirement. Also very important is the choice of the investment strategy you're going to follow. That's what you need to be discussing with your financial advisor to make sure it's appropriate for the goals you've set out yourself to do. So if it's an income provision, which needs to keep up with inflation and rising costs of living, you need to make sure that the investment strategy can support that lifestyle for you. Yeah, those are the 2 main ones.
And like you always said, get financial advice from one of your colleagues here.
Yeah, well, financial advice is quite imperative because people might think it's quite easy, but the devil is in the detail, as they like to say, and one needs to make sure that they understand what they're doing before you can make your own decisions. Rather get a coach or financial advisor to help you along the way.
Something we didn't touch on, which might be difficult as well to unpack, but maybe from an Alexander Forbes perspective, the cost implications of using a living annuity?
All right, the cost associated with buying or investing into living annuity would be your ongoing investment fees that you pay within the investment portfolios you have chosen, the administration fees that you pay for choosing a particular platform or provider, and then if you have chosen to go with an advisor, you'll be paying ongoing advice fee to your advisor that will be giving you guidance as you go along in your retirement.
Thank you so much for your time today, for deciphering this concept of living annuities for our viewers today. Well, that's where we leave it for Personal Finance tonight. A big thank you once more to Youri Dolya, who's the Alexander Forbes Financial Services Retail Best Practice Leader. Stay tuned next time on Personal Finance, where we bring you more sound financial advice.